Hey guys, got a little occupied in other projects and haven't really touched this in about a week or more. I took it out the other day, so we had some nice weather. I prepped the steel up there for a metal piece I'll be welding in there shortly. As you see, it's going to look like basically like that, going across. So that's ready to rock and roll. The base plate for the back of the box is wood. And I took them out, cut it, and dremelled them and everything else to make them fit, painted them black, and that turned out pretty good. I had to notch out the backs because I had to go around some nuts, so I'll have to take the battery box off, tape it off, and spray paint that little notch. But other than that, it blends in pretty good. Like I said, I don't ride it in the rain a lot, so I don't think the wood is going to be an issue. But eventually it will expand and go bad and everything else. But by then, who cares? I took it out for a ride. Ride's good. It's really nice that the batteries are actually below center because they are heavy. But when you sit on the bike and ride it, it just feels like you're riding a bike, like a bicycle. It doesn't feel like there's any load on the back whatsoever, which is weird. And I like the distance between my heel and the back of the box. I did hit it once, but my foot was on way off like that. So it's not a big deal. An issue I am having for about a day and a half, which I just figured out. Talk about a brain fart. So I took it outside. I put these batteries on, which is about 50 volts, 52 volts. It's a 49 volt pack, and it runs fine. Powers up everything. You give it a little bit of gas, it keeps going. But as soon as you give it anything past half, it just conks out. But it doesn't conk out like it's a timing issue because it doesn't shutter. It's like going into shut off or something. It's weird. And then you let off, and then you try it again. If you just feather the throttle, it'll go forward again. But you can't put any load on the motor whatsoever. I came in. Took me about a day to try and figure out what was going on, and it ended up being it's a 60 volt controller on a 49 volt battery. I don't have to tell you what happens. Like 50, 52, maybe 51 volts would be the cutoff for this. So that means every time I was giving a throttle, it was going in the cutoff. That's why it was so smooth. It wasn't jagged like there was something wrong with the timing. Yeah. My brain just exploded. That was actually a kind of stupid problem, but you roll right into stuff like that. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to have to basically, for now, until I figure out where to put this booster pack, I was thinking of maybe just putting it here and strapping it down, plugging it in. I mean, that would work. Well, I could have it this high if I wanted to. But I probably will do that, but instead of making any more holes in the battery box, what I'm just going to do is use these connectors here and make a Y splitter. So I can basically plug this into the splitter, plug this one into the splitter, and then have the extra one. So I can basically run my booster pack. I'm not going to want to run it with the positive going towards the BMS. I want the positive coming out, or the negative. Yeah, so the negative would be on the positive, and then yeah, I got it. I figured it out. Anyway, that way I don't have to modify it any further. I don't want to touch these things. They're mint. And I took it for a ride. They don't jiggle. They don't bounce. They don't make any sound whatsoever. It's bizarre. I mean, we're really on there good. But that wood in the back has to be gapped just right. If I hadn't have figured that out, it would have been riding in this middle bar here, which wouldn't have been good. Wouldn't have lasted too long. So but that's pretty good. Anyway, hopefully I can get that splitter made up and take it for another test run. It does run good. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the brakes. I went out and did a video and I rebuilt the brakes and everything else and bled them and everything else. Went out and got new fluid, legitimate fluid, and it sat for a month or whatever. This one was overheating last year, which I actually mentioned, and the seals on the pistons are gone bad. So that's dripping oil all over the place. I can't keep pressure in the line whatsoever because of that. So these are $90 brakes from Zoom. So they're not really worth rebuilding. I mean, I keep the cable. Obviously, it's custom. This one here held up, but last year I went for a ride and I felt something on my hand. And it was covered in oil, and maybe I thought something came off another vehicle. The plunger, or the seal in here anyway, has gone bad, and sometimes it'll occasionally eject some oil. So that's it. I mean, I got about 2 years out of these brakes before they went bad, but I did put them through hell. Like I said, I could smell the back one because I had to brake pretty hard. But yeah, so hopefully I can just get the same ones. I actually bookmarked them. They're like what, 1,200, but no, what? Yeah, about $100, $112, and then I can just basically just drop this off here and just drop in all the new parts. I don't have to mess with any cabling or anything else. But yeah, it rides fine, which I am surprised. But that's a stupid thing that I have to run into with, with the voltage cutoff. I hate voltage cutoff. Most of the times most of my controllers actually do have stuff like that cut out. It's just a resistor. I never use that. I mean, I've never used voltage cutoff on a controller since lead acid. So I don't know why they keep adding it to them. Anyway, take it easy. Hopefully things warm up. And if I do any more work on the bike that I haven't already posted, I'll post another vlog. Later, guys.